Hello everybody. I am a few minutes late, so I apologize. My dog is going absolutely bonkers because we have the landscapers here mowing for us. Our lawnmower stopped working in the spring and we just haven't gotten around to fixing it. So we have people come mow for us, but it just drives my dogs bonkers. So I'm hoping she's done with all of her barking. So I'm just gonna give it a few minutes. We'll see who jumps on. Hope everybody's doing awesome today on this Wednesday. I am totally rocking it. I got up a little bit earlier than usual, did some meditation, just a short one, trying to get my mindset in the right place. Got out of bed and started doing some drawing. So I really want to knock some pieces off this week and get them to their owners. I know everybody's very excited to see their pieces, and I have to start really concentrating on the children's book I'm sketching. And I do. Every day I do some, and I'm also still trying to finish that huge watercolor painting I'm working on. I'm very close to the end, so I'm excited about that. So I'm trying to focus on that too. Speaking of appliances dying, this is kind of funny. Our dryer went like 2 weeks ago. And in the summer it's not a big deal because I actually love hanging clothes and stuff out on the line outside. It just smells amazing. But every once in a while it's a little inconvenient. Like yesterday I put our sheets and blankets out at like 5 p.m. Went to go to bed and they weren't dry, so I figured, oh, I'll leave them out all night. There was a thunderstorm last night and they are soaked again. So they have to dry today. Hopefully they'll dry out. I'm so bad about getting appliances fixed, and like the lawnmower and the dryer. I hate spending money on that stuff. But I guess I'll have to do it soon. My husband's probably gonna be like, okay, enough already. You need to go get that stuff done. So why am I on today? Well, aside from wanting to see all you wonderful people and talk to you, I wanted to, so sometimes when I'm drawing, I'll do something and I'm like, oh, hey, maybe I should talk about that, because I've had people ask in the past, or maybe it's just something I thought you might find interesting. So I was working on a memorial portrait of a gentleman. His name is Kendall. He passed away this last year, lost his battle with colon cancer, unfortunately. And I was working on him today, and I thought, oh, I'll talk a little bit about some of the blending tools that I use. So I rarely, when I'm drawing in charcoal and graphite, I rarely use pencil. I like the actual pencils. I use them, but not to actually draw with. I use them to sketch, and then I use them as a finishing buffer, like on top. But for most of the portraits, I use paintbrushes and these little doohickeys. They're actually, you can buy some that are for art specifically online and in stores, but they're incredibly expensive. So I just pick up, they're the eyeshadow applicators that you can get in stores. So I just buy them in bulk, right? Now, I don't buy these sponge, hold on, I always screw this up. Is it sponge or foam? Whatever applicator's smoother. Like there's, I think it might be sponge, has some cells in it, right? Real small cells in the actual applicator part. And I don't like those unless I'm doing old skin or weathered skin, because those will leave a very different feel to your artwork. So if you're going to, hopefully this won't get blurry today too. Guys, let me know. Oh my gosh, it's been such a struggle. I think I figured out what the problem is. What I was doing is I was doing Facebook on my computer and Instagram on my mobile phone, and I don't think it can handle, my network can handle both. Or it's possible because they were so close together, there was interference. So I'm hoping that, so I had to drop Instagram. What I might do is try to invest in some equipment that'll be better when I can get some more money together so that I can stream to both. But I think that was the problem. So let me know if I get blurry. Let me know if you can't see anything. I'd appreciate it. how's everybody doing out there? Gosh, look at you guys. You guys are awesome. Why don't you drop me either a GIF or an emoji on how your day is going? Let me know. I'm going to flip my fan on because it's hot. Hang on. Okay, sorry about that. I hope that's not too distracting. I hope you can still hear me. So anyway, let's get back to the applicator. So the other one, which I believe is a foam tip, it has a very smooth tip on it, which creates smooth skin wonderfully. And these are the ones that I use, these and paintbrushes, as well as these sponges, right? And we can buy these in the store as well in the makeup section. Okay, so guys, if you are doing some art and you want to use sponges, don't order online. Just go to the makeup section in the store and grab these big pouches of them. If you get embarrassed, have a female do it for you, but it should be fine. Nobody cares. Anyway, this is what I use. So I'm going to flip you around in a minute and show you guys Kendall, the gentleman I'm working on. According to it's his sister, but they weren't blood brother and sister, just incredibly close, but that doesn't matter, right? We can still be brothers and sisters when we're not blood. So his sister hired me to draw him, and according to her, he was an incredible person. So it's always hard to draw somebody who's not with us anymore, and I wish I had the opportunity to meet him, and unfortunately I didn't. But this is Kendall, so I'm going to flip you guys around, and I hope that you can still, that you'll be able to see. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so you guys should be able to see Kendall. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how I use these tools. Let me see if I can get this a little bit better for you. So that I can, to get this nice smooth skin. So let me just demonstrate. The other thing I do too, I gotta find my glasses, one moment. Okay, so here he is. Awesome. I hope you guys can see. Should be fine. I'm going to show you how I do this. So what I do is I take my charcoal pencil. I'm gonna grab a different one. So let's say we wanna use my little, this guy, look how short he is, how small. I really work them down to the very end because, you know, they're expensive supplies. So I'll take this, and what I'll do is I treat it almost like a painting. So I will take this and I will spread charcoal on a scrap sheet of paper, just like so. And I usually use, I usually put a lot on here, but just, I don't want to bore you guys, so. Then I'll take my handy dandy applicator, eyeshadow applicator, and what I'll do is I'll like dip into the charcoal, right? I call it loading up. I load up the applicator, and then I always just touch it on the paper just to get some of the excess off, because sometimes I don't want to go as dark as what's on the applicator. The other thing you can do is if you have dirty applicators, like these, I keep them because they're kind of already loaded, so if you want just a lighter charcoal color, you can use them without having to dip into more charcoal. So I'm just going to show you right here on the side in the background what it does. So if I were to lay this down and just start brushing it on, it adds value to my piece without having to use a pencil. Now, why do I do this? Well, there's a few reasons. I do it because pencils can leave lines, and even if you do your pencil work in a circular motion, they still sometimes can leave lines, even if you're super light and careful. And this just is faster. So you can load your, you can do like a background, and you can obviously use a bigger sponge, right? Like something like this or even bigger. And you can do a large background rather quickly rather than just trying to do it all with pencil. And I use this throughout the whole process. If you've seen any of my time-lapse videos, I do have a YouTube channel now that I'm going to try to do some more videos on, so if you want to, you can find that. It should be under Nikki Milley. It might be Nikki Milley Art. I'm not sure. I'd have to check. But you can check out the videos, and you'll often see these applicators and paintbrushes more than you'll see pencils. So I do this, and I do it in layers. So a lot of times, if I'm doing a background, I'll do it while I'm watching TV at night, because there really isn't anything you need to know, right? It's just a matter of going over it a few times to get the hues where you want them, the values. So, and to smooth it out. So I'll work that while I'm watching a show or something like that. Now, as I come up here, if I don't want as much charcoal on my page, I can just continue to use this. So up here, I don't know, I hope you guys can see that. See how lighter it is, how much lighter? So I can still use it and still spread around the charcoal without it being really dark. So if I was going to go dip back into my charcoal, I wouldn't want to start up here because I want it to go from dark to light. I would go back down into here and work my way up that way. So that's how I can get a nice gradient, is by slowly filling these areas in without constantly adding charcoal to it. I'm just kind of moving what I already have. Now the key to this is you do not want to press really hard with these. If you're using these and you notice that they become damaged very quickly, then that means you're pressing way too hard, okay? So you have to stop doing that and use a much lighter touch. And when I say light, I literally mean, like if this is my hand, you shouldn't see your skin moving much, right? I mean, you're barely touching the paper. It's not that. It's not, see how my skin's moving? It's not that motion. It's a super light, just kind of skimming the paper over the top. So very light, and you just build your layers that way. Now, if I were using a paintbrush, I use it the same way. So I would dip into my charcoal, again, the same way. And I would load it up on my paintbrush, and then I can go in and I do a circular motion like that. And I can really, really blend this out. See, there's no lines or circles or anything. It'll be nice and smooth. I use the paintbrush oftentimes as a finishing tool after I've used my applicators to really smooth things out. Now sometimes, look at that. Look how nice, and I hope you guys can see how smooth that is. And that's just the first time I've used the paintbrush on it. So I'll go over this a few times. Now, with the paintbrush, I do use a lot more pressure. So see how my skin is moving now? So I use more pressure with the paintbrush because you can't, this is a very soft bristle, and unless you're really like down to the metal there like that, you can't really damage the paper. And by using a little bit more pressure, I'm able to soften that and spread out the charcoal or graphite that's on the paper and smooth it out. Now some papers are not awesome, so you'll notice that you'll have like a texture, or just it'll pick up from the paper some of the imperfections. So you just have to keep going over it. It will eventually, with more charcoal is what I mean, not just, you don't want to just keep pressing. I tell my students all the time, it's like painting. You don't take a paintbrush with watercolor or acrylics and just keep using the brush without going back to the paint, right? That's silly. You're never going to get anywhere. So same with charcoal and graphite. You have to keep loading your brush and your applicator with the medium and applying it to your paper. You can't just work it and work it and work it and expect results. The only time you really want to do that is if you're really trying to get like maybe the gradient from the real dark to the real light, there's a little hiccup where you see like a line where you can kind of see where it's divided. Then I might not load my brush and just kind of work right over that area for a few times so that I can kind of get that out, right? Get that, so it's more of a gradient. But when I want to add value, of course I'm going to go back into my paint, my charcoal, and add it to my applicator, whether it's paintbrush or the sponge, the applicators, and add more color. So I'll show you again. So if I want to do Kendall's back of his head right here is going to be darker. Okay? So I hope you guys, are you guys able to see this? I really hope so. So I'm going to take my applicator and I'm going to come over here and just add some charcoal to it, okay? And then I'm going to start to put that on. So you can kind of see that right there. So I'm running right along the back of his head because that's where the darkest part is on him. That's where his head is in shadow. And then as I come forward, I don't necessarily need to add more to my applicator. I can just kind of come forward and spread out what I have. So I'm smoothing out that line. So kind of doing like this and just spreading that out. So I get a nice, and I'll keep working this in layers till I get a nice gradient here from the back of his head to the front. And that's what's gonna give him that 3D look, right? Is adding the value. So we're going from the darkest spot to the lightest spot. Now, if I do too much, say like right here on the background, it's a little dark, and I didn't want to add that much right there. There's a couple things I can do. I can either take a clean sponge like this, a clean area, and you can wipe that, and a clean applicator or a clean sponge will actually lift off graphite from your paper, so you can almost use it as an eraser, similar to an eraser. So it'll lift like the top layer and it will lighten it. So you can see how it's getting lighter right there next to his head. So that helps to get rid of some of that darker charcoal I put on. Or you can use your kneaded eraser, get a clean spot by kneading it, and you can just dab it, and then that'll lift enough of the charcoal. You don't have to rub or anything like that. You just blot it, and then that will lift enough to clean it up so it's still lighter. So you have that lighter spot. And then if it's too light, you just take a dirty paintbrush or applicator and just go back over it lightly. You don't have to add charcoal to this part because I believe we have enough on the paper to work with. We have enough already on the brush to work with. We don't want a really dark spot there. We just want it light. So if I just go over this a couple of times in a circular motion, it will begin to add back the charcoal. Now you can see there's a little bit of a light spot here. So if I were doing this without you guys being with me here right now, I would work on this area just a little bit more. So I would just keep working it out. If I want to add a little bit of charcoal, like I feel like I don't have enough on my brush, I can wipe it on my pad over here and then add some to it. But I don't want it really dark. And I can go right over his head because I already know that back part of his head is going to be darker than the background anyway. So I don't have to preserve anything on his head. I don't have to preserve a lightness or anything like that. So I can just smooth it right over both the head and the background to get rid of that white spot. Let's see, it's getting better and better as we go. So that's what I wanted to show you today. Let me bring you guys back. Hello. I hope that was helpful. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions for me? Or comments? We're all good? All right, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna work on Kendall some more, and I hope everybody has a fantastic evening. I thought there was something else I wanted to tell you guys. I guess I don't. Oh, that's right, the children's book. I know it's been a while since I've talked about it because I'm still waiting on the publisher. We're so close to having it printed. The author and I, it was last week or the week before, okayed the final, what do you call it? You know what I mean, where they sent a proof, the final proof. And it's been sent to the printer. So it's our understanding that it takes a week or two to get once it's sent to the printer. So any day now we will have it. So I really appreciate all of your patience. And as soon as I get it, of course, I will get out the ones that prepaid and bought it. We'll get your notes done and send those out immediately. And for anybody who hasn't, I'll post about it and you can buy one. So it's super cute. I'm really excited about it. But we should have it any day. I had originally said mid-August, so I'm a little late on that, but just with our schedules and stuff, it was hard for myself, the author, and the publisher to get together to discuss the proofs and things like that. So kind of fell into, it was everybody's fault. So I apologize for that. But it is coming. It is coming soon, so don't worry. You will have it soon. I know it's hard when you send money and then you're like, I haven't heard or seen anything. So trust me, you know where I live, you know where I am. I'm not going anywhere, and it is coming. So everybody have a fantastic day. Shoot me any comments or questions if you have them. I'm more than happy to help you out. And I will talk to you again. Monday, Mark and I are going to be doing Shit My Husband Asks, our little video together, which is a lot of fun. I have no idea what question he's going to ask me, so it makes it interesting. And I've got a question for him too. So hopefully you'll see us. We do those every other Monday at 7 p.m. Here on my page. So watch for that. That'll be this coming Monday at 7 p.m. Thanks, guys. Enjoy.